One of my favorite treats to bring is lemon poppy seed cake, which is what I'm making now. And I make it in this bun pan. Okay, that's the pan. Now the batter. So I started with 2 sticks of butter, it's a ½ pound, and 2 cups of granulated sugar. Butter has to be room temperature so it really gets light and fluffy. And I've mixed it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and it's just about done. So next is eggs. I've got 4 room temperature eggs, and I do it 1 egg at a time. 1 teaspoon of good vanilla. And 1/3 cup of lemon zest. It's a lot, but it is lemon poppy seed cake after all. Okay, now I'm ready for the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients, and I'll show you how I combine them. I started on the wet mix a couple of hours ago. I poured a cup of buttermilk into a liquid measuring cup, added 1/3 cup of poppy seeds, and stirred them together. I set the mixture aside for 2 hours to allow the poppy seeds to soften. Then when the time was up, I added 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice and mixed it in. For the dry mix, I measured out 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour and put it into a sieve set over a bowl. Then added 1/4 cup of cornstarch, a teaspoon of kosher salt, ½ a teaspoon of baking powder, ½ a teaspoon of baking soda, and sifted them all together. So at this point, I'm going to turn down the mixer to its lowest stir. And starting with the dry ingredients, I'm just going to slowly add them in thirds. First the dry ingredients, then the wet ingredients. And just let it mix in until it's just done. Don't want to overmix once the flour's in. And then I always turn it off and actually use the spatula to just fold it in and make sure it's really well mixed. Okay, that's perfectly mixed. So now into the bun pan. This cake's great because you can make it, you can keep it in the refrigerator. I always serve it at room temperature, but it'll hold in the refrigerator for about a week, or you can freeze it really well. And just take your spatula and smooth the top, make sure it's even. Okay, into the oven, 350 degrees for 45 minutes, till a toothpick comes out clean. Okay, how good does that look? Okay, I'm gonna let this sit for about 10 minutes. If you turn out a hot cake, sometimes it can break and you don't wanna do it. No point in going through all that trouble. So in the meantime, I'm going to make a lemon drizzle to pour over the cake. I've got ½ a cup of fresh lemon juice and ½ a cup of sugar, granulated sugar. I'm just going to cook it just enough so that the sugar dissolves. Okay, this is done. I'm just going to turn it off. So the cake is cooled for about 10 minutes. You can actually see it just pulls away from the pan a little bit. So normally you just dump it out like that, but I always worry about it breaking. Don't want a broken cake. So I'm going to take the rack and just turn it over like that. And if you're lucky, and if you grease the pan properly, it'll come out. And there it is. That looks great. So now I'm going to take the drizzle to pour over the cake. And you don't want to dump it on it. You just want to sort of slowly run it around so that it absorbs it. Just like that. And I did it over a baking pan so that it didn't run all over the kitchen. It just runs into the pan. Because too much is never enough, I'm going to make a glaze to put on the cake. So I need a cup of confectioner sugar and a few tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. Maybe about 1½ but I'm going to do it slowly. I'm looking for something that's like a very thick but pourable glaze. Let it just run down the sides, just like that. Lemon mousse is one of my favorite desserts. Unfortunately, it's one of Frank's too. So I'm gonna make Frank and Steven. And now I'm gonna make the base of the lemon mousse. So the first thing I need is 3 whole eggs. And then I'm gonna separate 3 eggs. I'm gonna put the yolks in the base and whip the egg whites to make it nice and light and fluffy. Okay, next I need a cup of sugar. And lots of lemon zest, 2 teaspoons. ½ a cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I'm just gonna whisk it all together. A little salt. And then I'm gonna put this over a double boiler and just cook it until it thickens. So the first thing I need is half of the egg whites, 2 tablespoons of sugar, just to sweeten it a little bit, pinch of salt, and just whip those on high. I'm gonna get the cream and I'm gonna get the base for my lemon mousse. Just done. So I'm just gonna take this plastic wrap off the base. So you make a really thick custard, and then you lighten it by folding in egg whites and whipped cream. And that's how you make a mousse. And this is the thing about folding, is you just want to put it on top and then fold it in slowly. You want to do nothing that will deflate the egg whites. Put the spatula down in the middle and then just fold it over really carefully. You can really smell the lemon zest in this. So now I'm going to whip some cream, make it even lighter. Hard to imagine cream is light. Okay, 1 cup of cream. And you can just do it in the same bowl. So I've whipped the cream. I'm just going to pour it on top and fold it in. This is so many layers of things, but the good news is you can make it in advance and let it sit in the refrigerator for a long time. Just want to fold it in really carefully, just like the egg whites. Make sure you don't deflate them. Okay, and then I'm going to give it extra special flavor. I'm going to put in half a cup of lemon curd. Gives it a real lemon bite. It's about half a jar. And then fold that in. Again, carefully, but not too much. But this is really good. So good. So lemony. You can really taste the zest and the lemon curd, and yet it's really still very light. So you can really do a lemon mousse just like this, but I'm going to make it extra special and decorate it with cream and lemon slices. I'm starting with a big roasting chicken. First thing I want to do is salt and pepper the inside of the cavity. I've already washed and patted it dry. Lots of salt inside to give it lots of flavor. And lots of pepper. I want this to have great flavor. And I'm going to take a whole head of garlic. I'm not even going to peel it. Just cut it right in half. And all that garlic flavor just gets right into the chicken. It's going to be delicious. And the next thing I'm going to do is lemons, because I love the way lemon tastes in chicken. So I'm just going to quarter this and put that right into the chicken just that way. And then some fresh thyme, big sprig of fresh thyme right in the middle. All this is really just to give the chicken more flavor as it roasts. If you have other herbs around, like oregano or rosemary or something like that, you can also use that, but I particularly like thyme. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to truss a chicken. It's really simple. Just want to do 2 things. I'm going to tie the legs together with a little bit of kitchen string. Just tie these guys together. This is really about making sure that the chicken cooks evenly. If the legs are flapping around in the pan, they're going to cook faster than the rest of the chicken. And the wings are the same thing. You don't want them flapping around in the pan. So what you want to do is just turn them backwards and tuck them right underneath the body of the chicken. And it keeps them close. Just like that. I'm just going to brush the whole top with butter, just to make sure that it has lots of flavor and that it browns really nicely in the pan. Then I'm going to sprinkle it with lots of salt and pepper. And now comes the surprising part. I'm going to put strips of bacon over the top, which is going to actually give it lots of flavor. And then later, I'm going to crumble the crisp bacon into the salad. So it's going to be a combination of dishes. This is the usual Friday night chicken, but dressed up for company. Now, I'm going to add more flavor to the sauce, too, by putting in garlic in the pan. Another whole head of garlic, just cut right in half. I'm going to roast it in the pan. And then the juices from the chicken are going to make a sauce with the garlic. And I think I'll put in 2 lemons. So these are the flavors in the chicken, but it's also going to add to the sauce. Cut off the ends, and then just cut it in half and do big wedges. And you'll see the lemon is going to brown, and it's going to have great flavor right in the sauce. Just right in the pan, sort of instead of vegetables. Okay, so I think it's all ready. 425 degrees for about an hour and 15 minutes. And before it's done, I'm gonna take the bacon off so the chicken browns really nicely. The thing about lemon ricotta pancakes with figs is, instead of putting all the flavor on the top, like with fruit and chocolate and whipped cream, all the flavors of these pancakes are in the pancakes. So I'm starting with 1 cup of ricotta, whole milk ricotta. Next is a cup of buttermilk. You always want to be sure to shake the buttermilk because it settles, but it's got a richness about it that's different from regular milk and a tangy flavor. So far it sounds pretty good, right? Not like ordinary pancakes. Okay, 3 extra large eggs. I'm just going to whisk these together. One of the nice things about pancake batter is you can make it the night before and just scoop it out and make pancakes in the morning. Okay, next, 1/4 cup of sugar. You want them to be a little sweet. 1½ tablespoons of grated lemon zest. These are really lemony pancakes. 1½, that's perfect. And 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. No, I always say good vanilla, but what I mean is pure vanilla extract, as opposed to the imitation stuff. I have no idea what's in that. Just whisk this together. Okay, that's the wet ingredients. Next, the dry. So I need 1¼ cups of all-purpose flour. This is pretty easy to do. 1/4 cup of cornstarch. We're just gonna make them really tender. Tablespoon of baking powder. Make them light. 1½ teaspoons of salt. Just makes them taste good. So that's the dry ingredients. The thing about this base that's so nice is lemon and ricotta. It's just a great pancake. And I have figs in season, which are great with it, but you can make it with blueberries, you can make it with chocolate chips, chocolate, ricotta, lemon, fabulous combination. So be creative. Okay, that's the dry ingredients. Now I'm gonna put them in the wet ingredients. Just fold them in. Just mix this in. You don't want to over-mix it because you'll end up with tough pancakes. We want really tender pancakes. Fold it in just enough so that the flour is just mixed in. I'm just going to let it sit for 5 minutes, and that allows the gluten in the flour to relax. Makes a really tender pancake. Don't worry if the batter's a little lumpy. It's the ricotta that makes it lumpy. Okay, that's the batter. I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to prep the figs. So this is what I have. I have fresh figs. They're so delicious. I'm going to cut this in 1/2-inch dice. Try and get ripe figs if you can, but if they're a little underripe, don't worry, because when you cook them, they kind of sweeten and caramelize. I'm gonna make the pancakes, put the figs on, turn them over, figs will cook. Maple syrup, butter on top. How bad could that be? Of course, these are great for breakfast or like Sunday brunch, but I have to say, I served breakfast for dinner one time for a dinner party. People went berserk. It was like they just couldn't eat enough pancakes. It was really sweet. Okay, that's 8 figs, 1/2-inch diced. Let's make some pancakes. So I'm starting with clarified butter, and this is what it is. I took some butter, I put it in a pitcher, I put it in the microwave for 30 seconds to melt it. And the milk solids go to the bottom, and that's what burns. The clear liquid on top has a higher burning temperature, and since I don't want burnt pancakes, I'm just gonna use the clear liquid. 2 tablespoons of clarified butter for each batch. Okay, just some butter on the bottom of the pan. Nice hot pan, always a good idea. And here's my pro tip. I use an ice cream scoop. That way all the pancakes are exactly the same size. I'm only making 3 pancakes, but this batter will make 14. Just like that. Look how nice and thick they are. Another reason to let it sit is the batter gets really thick. And one more. And then I'm gonna put the figs right on top. Just place a couple of figs on each pancake. Just make sure every bite has fig in it. If you want to make a few of these ahead, what you can do is make them and keep them warm in a 250 or 300 degree oven. They'll stay nice and warm and still really moist. Okay, a little more fig. I love this combination of fig and lemon ricotta. It's kind of like a fig cake. Okay. See, that's the nice thing about the ice cream scoop. Every single pancake's exactly the same size. If you don't have an ice cream scoop, you can use a 1/4 cup measure. It's exactly the same thing. So it's about 3 minutes on one side. You're just waiting for bubbles to appear on the top. Don't walk away from it. It happens really fast. Unless, of course, you're staring at it, and then it doesn't happen at all. Okay, I want them nicely browned on the bottom before I flip them over. Not quite there yet. You can always spend your time putting more figs on them. 3 minutes seems like a really long time when you're staring at them. Okay, time to flip the pancakes. Wish me luck. Perfect. Oops. And this is great when you flip it over. The other side cooks, but the figs really cook too. Okay, big plate. Let's see how these guys are doing. The other side cooks pretty quickly. So you want to press them, and when it springs back, kind of like a cake, they're done. So these guys are done. Okay. Do we think 3 pancakes is too much? There's no such thing as too many pancakes, right? 2, 3. A little bit of butter. This is totally decadent. Okay, maple syrup. This is the time for pure maple syrup, not that breakfast pancake syrup, which is like maple flavored syrup. This is the real deal. A little dusting of fresh lemon zest on the top, because that's the first thing you'll taste. I need a fork. Wow. Hot pancakes, my favorite. And you can really see the figs inside. Look how fabulous. Don't mind if I do. The figs are so flavorful. And the ricotta and the buttermilk and the lemon. Those are definitely my favorite pancakes. Wow, look how fabulous. Not bad. I'm having a beach picnic. And I'm gonna bring shrimp salad, pasta pesto and peas, and my favorite lemon cake. It transports really well to the beach. So I'm gonna show you how to make this. If you can make this lemon cake, you can make any cake. I've got room temperature butter, 1/2 pound, and 2 cups of sugar that I've been mixing in the mixer until it's really light and fluffy. Then I'm gonna add 4 room temperature eggs. I'm gonna add the eggs 1 at a time and just let them get incorporated into the butter and sugar. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna put in is 1/3 cup of grated lemon zest. And that goes in. Wonderful. Okay, then I have to put together my dry ingredients and wet ingredients. First, the wet ingredients. I have 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice that I've squeezed. Buttermilk, which is great. It's a low-fat milk that's got a culture in it. So 1/4 cup of lemon juice plus 3/4 cup of buttermilk. And the next thing's vanilla. I love the smell of vanilla. I figure out how to put it into almost every baked product. So a teaspoon of vanilla. Now the dry ingredients. So that's 3 cups of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. Salt's surprisingly important in baking things. Really brings out the lemon in the lemon cake. And I'm just gonna sift these together. Sifting really combines it, but it also makes sure that there's nothing in the bottom. So I want to put them in alternately, starting and ending with the dry ingredients, just until it's mixed, and then add the wet ingredients. This keeps the batter from getting too thick or too runny, and it keeps it really light. Great thing about this recipe is it's in fact better the next day. So if you're having a party, it's really great to make it in advance. And then the last, flour. So that's it. I've got the dry ingredients, the wet ingredients, and I'm just gonna give it one more mix with a spatula and make sure it's really well mixed. I can smell all the fresh lemon. Wonderful. Just one more mix with a spatula. Okay, right over here. I've got 2 baking pans that I've greased and floured, and I have a little piece of parchment paper on the bottom. So there's no point in making a delicious cake if you can't get it out of the pan. Divide this up evenly. That looks about even, right? Looks good. So they're gonna bake 350 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. And after they come out, I have a simple syrup made of lemon juice and sugar, and I'm going to drizzle it on the top, and it soaks in, and it just has such a fresh lemon flavor, and it keeps it incredibly moist. Lemon fusilli is a classic Barefoot Contessa recipe. Whenever we were running out of dinners in the store, I knew I could make huge quantities of it really fast. So it's fusilli, broccoli, and I'm going to make a lemon cream sauce for it. Into the pot, boiling salted water. Just throw all the broccoli in. Just going to cook it for about 3 minutes until it's crisp tender. Then I'm going to shock it in ice water to stop the cooking. And then later, it's just going to heat up right in the pasta. You cook the pasta. Pound the fusilli, a little oil in the water, just so it doesn't stick. Salt. Okay, just stir it around, make sure they don't stick. I'm going to cook this for about 10 to 12 minutes until the pasta's al dente, which has a little bite, but it's completely cooked. Actually, fusilli's great for this because the sauce really sticks. Okay, broccoli's done. Turn it off, put it in ice water. How fast is that? And while the pasta cooks, I'm gonna make the most delicious and really easy lemon cream sauce. It's gonna be so good. For the lemon fusilli, I'm gonna make a really easy and very rich sauce. It's a lemon cream sauce. Tablespoon of olive oil. While that heats up, I'm just gonna chop some garlic. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flavor the cream and then reduce it. And it's gonna be like a white sauce. So, tablespoon of chopped garlic. I'm going to cook the garlic in the olive oil for about a minute. Right into the pan. The next thing I need is 2 cups of cream. I'm just going to put the cream in and let it reduce over medium heat. I'm going to flavor it with lots of lemon. The zest of 2 lemons. So the lemon and the cream and the lemon juice are all going to cook together. And they're just going to become an incredibly flavorful sauce. Okay, that's the zest of 2 lemons. Right into the cream. And then the juice of 2 lemons. 2 teaspoons of salt. Remember, this is the sauce on the pasta, so it has to be really strongly flavored. 1 teaspoon of pepper. Just going to stir that around. So this is just going to simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes until it's reduced by half. And by then, the pasta should be done. Okay, the sauce looks like it's ready. See, it just starts to coat the spoon, just like a white sauce. It smells good, delicious, lemon and garlic. I'm gonna pour it right over the pasta and the broccoli. Okay, next is Parmesan cheese. Put on as much as you like, about a quarter, half a cup, something like that. Okay. Lots of cherry tomatoes. This is gorgeous. Just going to toss it all together. So the sauce and the Parmesan get onto everything. That looks great. Okay, I have 2 more things. Just a few pieces of lemon tossed into it. I think it really just looks so much better. And the last thing is fresh arugula. I have some baby arugula that's just gorgeous. It's a big handful of arugula goes into it. Just toss it together, and the heat from the pasta is just going to wilt the arugula just enough. Nice platter for it. Onto the platter. Lots of cherry tomatoes. say, sprinkling of Parmesan cheese. A few pieces of lemon, and lunch is served. In Paris, I take inspiration everywhere. When I come to the Boulevard Raspail Market, I love to see these rotisserie chickens going around and all those gorgeous juices falling on the potatoes. Doesn't that look fabulous? And when I went home, I thought, wouldn't it be great to have bread cubes underneath? And that's how roast chicken with croutons was born. It's so delicious. Chicken with croutons works for a crowd or a simple lunch, like today when my friend Anna shows up. Now I'm going to stuff the inside with lemon. Just put them right inside. It's going to have really good flavor. Salt, pepper, and into the pan. Great, so I'm going to roast it at 425 degrees for about an hour and 15 minutes until it's just perfectly done. And then I'm going to saute bread croutons. And when the chicken is roasted, I'm going to slice it over the croutons so it just absorbs all that gorgeous chicken juice and flavors. So for the croutons, I'm going to use a sourdough bread like this. You can get them all over the country, but it reminds me so much of those wonderful breads from Pauline Bakery that I love in Paris. Nothing like roast chicken to make the house smell good. So I'm just going to cover this with foil. That gets all the juices back into the meat and makes it really moist. About 15 minutes. Which is just enough time to make the croutons. So, croutons. Just going to slice the bread in big cubes. I think half a loaf is enough for 2 people. And I don't mind it with the crust on. If you prefer it without the crust, just cut it off. But I love the earthy way it looks. It's a great way to use up leftover bread. Just a little film of oil in the pan. Get it really hot. And then just put all the bread cubes in. You want them in one layer. Just saute them, medium heat. Just keep turning them until they're nice and browned on all sides. And then when I slice the chicken over the bread cubes on the platter, all that gorgeous juice from the chicken and the lemon is going to get into the cubes. It's going to be really good. You can really do this with any kind of bread, like a baguette or sourdough bread or a big white bread. Just make sure it's really good bread. Done. So I'm just going to cut this up, put it right on top of the croutons. And then all the juices from the chicken are going to get into the croutons. You can smell all the lemon, the chicken juices. For the breast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it all off in one piece and then slice it. And that way everybody gets a little bit of the meat and a little bit of the skin. I'm just going to put the roasted lemons on the platter too. And the beans I blanch for about 3 minutes. And then I have the roasted vegetables. Just put them right on top. Okay, while that's heating up, I'm going to get the shallots in the bowl. Look how gorgeous and brown, caramelized these are. Oh, they're going to be so good with the chicken. Everything's ready for lunch. Okay, pay attention. This is like the fastest pasta I ever made. So first I have a big pot of water to a rolling boil. I put a lot of salt in it. You want the salt to get into the pasta so it flavors it. Okay, and next, Cappellini, 1 pound. Cappellini is a little thinner than spaghetti and a little thicker than angel hair. And it cooks in like 4 minutes. So you want to put it right into the boiling water. Just swirl it around. And just give it a big stir. And that'll keep it from sticking. Okay, next the sauce. Not gonna believe how easy this is. So it's a half a pound of butter. I know it's a lot of butter, but it's really good. the zest of 2 lemons, and I'm gonna zest it right over the sauce, because then the oils from the lemon zest get into the sauce. So you just want that little bit of bright yellow around the lemon. You don't want the white pith underneath, because that's bitter. This is a great dish. I make this all the time for New Year's Eve, because we love to go out, have drinks, have fun in Paris, take a little tour, and then come back and have dinner at midnight. And I don't want to start making a long, complicated dish. So what I do is I make this, and literally in 5 minutes, dinner's on the table, lemon cappellini with a big dollop of caviar on top. That sounds very festive New Year's Eve in Paris, doesn't it? Okay, that's one. And now one more. You know, I've seen so many recipes for lemons where they say, okay, you want a half a cup of lemon juice and then lemon zest. But by the time you've juiced the lemons, you can't zest it. So always zest the lemons first before you juice them. So this is going to be the zest of 2 lemons and then the juice of 2 lemons. This is really one of my favorite dishes of all time. It was in my first book, the Barefoot Contessa cookbook, and I've made it ever since. Okay, that's that. Now I'm going to do the juice of 2 lemons. In fact, I got this recipe on a New Year's Eve. I went to somebody's house and they were making it. I remember after a really long day at the store, I arrived at these people's house for New Year's Eve dinner, and they were cooking, and I kind of joined in just to be social. And the next thing I knew, everybody had left for the living room, and there I was making dinner for everybody. I thought, well, at least I got a great recipe out of it. Freshly squeezed lemon is just the best. Love my little juicer. Okay, this just goes right into the sauce. 2 teaspoons of salt. 1 teaspoon of pepper. And just swirl that around. Make sure it's really nicely mixed. And let's see if the pasta's ready. Got to clear the decks a little bit. Whoa, runaway lemon. So I'm just going to cook this. Normally it cooks for 4 minutes for al dente, but what I'm going to do is cook it for 3 minutes and then cook it in the sauce for another minute. Missy Robbins from Missy, the restaurant, pasta restaurant, taught me this. Perfect. So I'm going to just lift it out, let it drain a little bit, but then take some of the pasta water and put it into the sauce. And the starch in the pasta water thickens the sauce. And then I have lots of pasta water. Just add back in if I need to. Missy Robbins is just an incredible restaurateur in Brooklyn. She owns 2 restaurants, Lilia and Missy. They both have unbelievable pasta that she makes. Think this is enough pasta? This is going to be so good. It's basically lemon, butter, and pasta, but the total is so much better than the sum of its parts. And then I'm just going to toss it together. I mean, Missy tosses it in the air, but I'm going to be a little more conservative. I don't think it'll be all over the kitchen and me if I do that. So just toss it all together. Just keep tossing it for about a minute. So all the butter and the lemon and the zest and the salt and pepper get absorbed into the pasta. And then as it sits, it's just going to get a little dry, so I'm going to put a little of the pasta water in. I want to make sure it's really moist. You don't want it dry. Just toss it together. I wish you could smell this. It's just unbelievable. That sort of fresh, citrusy lemon is so good. And butter. I mean, how bad can that be? Okay, I'm going to show you how I plate it. So I've got an Italian plate. I thought that would be pretty. And let me see if I can do it the way Missy does it. She takes a big thing of pasta. Whoa. So what Missy does is twirl it on the plate and your hand, so it ends up being a nice little pile. I don't know, hers looks better, but mine's still good. Oh, runaway lemon, and then I'm gonna do a little lemon zest on the top, just so you know it's lemon. It's that last hit of lemon that you really taste when you taste the pasta. And then everybody knows it's lemon. And I think maybe I'm just gonna do a little wedge of lemon on the plate. How's that? A little salt, a little pepper, and that's lemon cappellini. Looks so good, I may have to try it. Why do I think I'm going to be wearing this by the time I'm done trying this? Just to twirl it around. This is not my forte. It's so good. It's really zesty from the lemon zest and juice. It's perfectly seasoned. That's an amazing pasta. It's crazy good. It's Friday night. And most Friday nights involve Jeffrey coming home and a roast chicken dinner. But I think tonight I'm gonna shake it up a little bit. I'm gonna do a skillet-roasted lemon chicken, which is kind of like roasted chicken, but better. So first thing I'm gonna do is make a marinade, kind of a rub for the chicken. It's gonna give it a lot of flavor. I need 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme leaves, 1 teaspoon of whole fennel seeds, a tablespoon of salt. Seems like a lot, but it's a whole chicken. A teaspoon of pepper. I'm just gonna grind it all up together. This is a mini food processor. It's really useful. Comes in all different sizes. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm just gonna take 1/3 cup of olive oil, and I'm gonna mix the herbs right into it. I'm just gonna put all the spices right in. And the salt and pepper, all the flavors. Just whisk it right in. Okay, that's the herbed oil. Next I need a lemon. So 1 whole lemon. I usually cut off the ends just for appearance sake. Cut it in half, and then just do thick slices. One of the things that's unique about this chicken is that I cook the whole lemon in with the chicken, and the lemon is edible, even the peel, because it cooks in the chicken juices, and it's so delicious. I'll show you how it works. Okay, that's the lemon, ready for the skillet. It's really heavy, but it really does a great job. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put the lemon in, just kind of in one layer, the whole lemon. I know it sounds wild, but it really works. And next, I have 1 yellow onion. I'm just gonna put it right on top. This is like the easiest chicken dish on the planet. And then I have 2 cloves of garlic that I thinly sliced. Just put them right on top. Okay, next the chicken. So what I have is a butterfly whole chicken. I asked the butcher to take the back out, and what he did was flatten it like this. So I'm gonna start with the skin side down, and I've got my herb and oil mixture. I'm just gonna brush half of the herb and oil mixture on the bottom of the chicken, on the underside of it. Just brush it right on, it's really easy. It's got so much flavor in the fennel and thyme, salt and pepper, it all gets into the chicken. And then I'm gonna turn it over, grab it by its little legs, turn it over like that. And then what I do is I take a paper towel and dry the top, because I want the skin to brown, and that'll help it brown. And the oil and the herbs will do the same thing. So I'm just gonna pour the rest of this on top, brush it, make sure it's completely covered. How good does this look already? I mean, it's such a good chicken because it cooks really high temperature, it's really fast, and then the lemon and the onions and the garlic and the juices from the chicken make the most delicious sauce. So good together, like a meal all in one. Okay, into the oven, 450 degrees for 30 minutes. Whoa, that's a really hot oven. Then I'm gonna put a little wine in, cook it for another 15 minutes, and it's gonna be perfect. Okay, I think the chicken's cooked for half an hour. And now I just need to put some wine in, about 1/2 cup. And make sure I put it around the chicken, not over it, because I really want the skin to brown and it'll stop it from browning. Perfect. Okay, back into the oven for 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna squeeze a lemon on it, give it lots of flavor, and then let the whole thing rest for 15 minutes. It's gonna be fantastic. Oh, this smells amazing. Wow, so good. Okay, the last thing I wanna do is put some lemon on it. When the chicken's hot, it just really absorbs the lemon flavor. And then I'm just gonna let it rest for about 15 minutes. I'm gonna cover it with aluminum foil loosely, just keep it warm. Very hot, be careful. Just gonna cut it up. I just do it in quarters, but you can do it any way you like. It's easy to cut because the backbone came out. The butcher took it out. Okay, right back in the sauce, and then I actually serve it right in the pan. Okay, that's done. For my picnic by the pond, I'm making all kinds of portable food, including lemon bars for dessert. So I'm going to start with 2 sticks of butter, half a cup of sugar. Why do all my recipes start with 2 sticks of butter? It's for a party, though. I'm just going to cream those together. And then with the mixer on low, add 2 cups of flour. And an eighth of a teaspoon of salt. Great. This is really a shortbread dough. It's so much easier to make. It doesn't require a rolling pin. I'm just going to pat it right into the pan. Okay. Put it right into a 9 by 12 pan. Don't even have to grease the pan because there's butter in the dough. I'm just going to flour my hands and press this out. I'm going to chill it for about 15 minutes, and then later on I'm going to make a wonderful lemon curd filling and pour it on top of the baked dough, and then cut them out in squares for my party. Okay, just chill for 15 minutes. I've got the crust all baked and cooled, and now I'm making the filling. So I've got 6 eggs, 3 cups of sugar. I'm just going to whisk it all together. These are really lemony lemon bars. I've got lots of lemon juice and lots of zest in them, and great flavor. Okay, next thing is 2 tablespoons of grated lemon zest, which I've already got right there. Cup of fresh lemon juice. I can already smell the sharpness of the citrusy lemon. And the last thing is 1 cup of flour. Just put the flour in slowly so it doesn't get lumpy. And when this is done, I'm going to pour it onto the crust, put it in the oven, 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes until it sets. And when they're cool, I'm going to cut them in big squares and dust them with confectioner's sugar. Okay. Just pour it right in. And into the oven. I'm just going to dust them with a little bit of powdered sugar. These are so lemony. I can't wait for dessert. And I've cut 12 of them in this pan. It's always the first one that's hard to get out. Got it. Okay, we'll wrap it in parchment paper. Off to the pond to meet my friends.